Hey everyone, I'm going to do a video using the Kaisercraft 12x12 paper pad called Circus. This has 18 designs, including 6 of them that have foil, and so it's 36 papers in total. They are single-sided and they are 160 GSM. So the papers that I have picked from here are the 2 pages of cut aparts and then the pages with the large dots and with the yellow stars. I've already cut these down into 2-inch strips, which is what's going to be required for this panel just here. What I've decided to do is use 2 pieces of pattern paper and then have all of the 3x4s out of 2 sheets, which is this half. So imagine that I doubled it. And then I'm going to cut this half out of 2 sheets, which is going to be the dots and stars over here, which means that the cut aparts will go straight in the middle and I will mat them all. And then I'll have this strip down the side, and then there's this decorative strip here that I'll probably change and sub out for a sentiment. There are 12 cut aparts on each sheet here, and I have 2 sheets, and I'm going to get from 4 pieces of 12x12 pattern paper, 24 cards. Let's go. The first step is to finish cutting down the 3x4 elements. These are obviously the key feature of the card. When I'm cutting these down, it's actually quite difficult to line up perfectly and cut between 2 different colors of the designs. So you can see here I'm double cutting everything. So I cut slightly to the right of where the color changes and then slightly to the left. And it just means I don't come back and have to clean up any mistakes later. Everything is definitely just that one backing color of each of the panels. Hopefully that makes sense, but it's just a tiny little cut to the right, tiny cut to the left. And then I don't have to worry about being so particularly perfect about lining everything up. I'm now doing those strips that are going to go down the left-hand side of the card. These are going to add an awesome pop of color to the card, and they don't need to be matted. So these ones are actually being cut down to 5.5. I'm using A2 size cards, so they're 5.5 by 4.25. So this is just a 2-inch panel that's going to go straight down the side of the back of the card design. So I'm cutting this at 5, I'm cutting it at 6, and then I'm cutting it at 5.5. And then that's just chopping off that last little element. I've got these doubled up, so there's 2 here, one with the spots and one with the stars, and that makes that process really quite quick. The next step is to do the matting. Now, I've previously attached all of my cut aparts to the black paper and then trimmed it down. But what I've discovered by doing a couple of these card challenges or using these card templates recently is if it's a 3x4 element and then you have a 3.25 by 4.25 matting layer, I actually am okay at lining these up. So I've literally run through, I've cut all of the black rectangles, and then I can be pretty confident that when I attach the 3x4 on top, I'm going to get it relatively straight, and there might be 3 or 4 that I need to trim down after the fact. But I did trial this in a previous video and it worked just fine. And this is definitely faster as part of this process for this particular card design. These cards were really so much fun to make. I really felt like I got in the zone, and they're so simple with the elements that just sticking these pieces on the backing panel and running through, I felt like I created 24 super quick cards really quickly. You can see here just finishing off doing those matting layers. Now I'm putting some ATG tape on the back of these panels that will go straight down the left-hand side of the card. Because there's only 2 designs, at this point it doesn't matter which order I do them on. I'm literally just adding that strip, running it down close to the edge. I was able to line them up pretty carefully. Some people do use a MISTI to line it up or something that has a corner. Even your scoreboard you could use. But I found it pretty straightforward given it was just a straight 2-inch strip. When I was trying to decide which things to match with the stars versus the big circles, for some reason I decided anything that was predominantly yellow I would attach with the stars. I'm not really sure why, but in the end it ended up being pretty cool because those cards had a bit of a simpler color palette. So you can see here that there's a lot of blue and yellow with the giraffe and just a little bit of the red. Even here with the elephant, it's similar, it's grey and yellow, and then it's got the little red hat. And so I think that makes it look pretty cute in my view and doesn't add a whole lot of different colour choices together. And then I knew that with these circles, the circles do incorporate every colour that's used in the paper pad. So anything that was left would 100% match, which was excellent. I will say I did forget that there was horizontal cut aparts, and I probably would have put the paper at the bottom, not at the top.
but it still looks pretty cool this way, and it's different to how I would have normally done it. Now you can see here I'm stamping the happy birthday onto the leftover pieces of paper. I really wanted to do this because it was part of the design, but some of them are a little hard to read. But I still think it works. I used every piece of paper without wasting anything. So I'm now running through and I'm just matting it on some scrap black paper. Once these are all done, I'm then going to trim them down and attach them to the cards themselves. It was a little tricky where to put some of them. I tried not to cover up the elements of the cut aparts, but for each design I did find a colour that matched really well, and I managed to find a really good spot to put it onto the card. Here are all 24 cards. I kind of love the bright colours of the circus, and I think these would make a young child smile. Put some videos here that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.